Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Jude. Tonight, we're talking about the 61 different names of sugar. That's right, 61 different names. So, I'm Jill Kendall. I'm a personal trainer, health coach, life coach, and I hold several nutrition certifications, and I am the CanFit Pro Trainer for healthy eating and weight loss. I do not replace the information you'll receive from a dietitian. I am not a dietitian, nor do I replace the information you've received from your doctor. Please always follow the dietitian or your doctor's advice anytime. So let's get started. Because 61 names of sugar, that is just outlandish. No wonder we're so confused about whether we're eating sugar or not. Because if there's 61 different names, how are you supposed to recognize it? So I'm going to go over each of those sugars. Hopefully it's not going to take too long. And I want to point out part of the reason marketing companies do this is because if on a packaging you read your ingredients label, like we've all been doing, hopefully, and you'll look and you'll see that the last ingredient is sugar, or it's towards the end of your ingredient list, you're mentally going to go, oh, it's not too much sugar, it should be healthy. Or if you see things in there like honey or maple syrup or agave nectar, you're like, oh, those are nutritious, so I can eat it. Well, when you add all that stuff up, it becomes sugar is the number one item in what you're eating, which is not healthy at all. So let's get started. And I'm going to have to refer to my list because there's no way I can remember all 61 names. So agave nectar, I just spoke of that. Lots of people think it's super healthy. It's sugar. Doesn't matter if it's naturally occurring, doesn't matter where it comes from, it is still sugar. It's still processed exactly the same way. Then we have Barbados sugar, which is just another different kind of refined sugar. We have barley malt. It's also sugar. It's sugar that comes from barley. Then we have barley malt syrup. Sneaky, huh? Then we have beet sugar. We've all heard of sugar being made from beets. Brown sugar, which is less refined sugar. We have buttered sugar, buttered syrup. So that one's super sneaky because people don't realize it is sugar. Then we have cane juice, which is another form of sugar. It's juice from the sugar cane, which has an 80% saturation level. It's super sweet. Then we have cane juice crystals. Same thing. It's the cane juice that's been dehydrated to form crystals. And then they use that as the sugar. And then cane sugar right out. Okay? That's the refined form of the cane crystals. So it's all the same thing, just different names. Caramel. Carob syrup. And yeah, carob syrup is sugar. So we also have castor sugar, coconut palm sugar. And lots of people might think that this, because it's coconut or a coconut derivative, it's still sugar. Our body still processes it exactly the same way. Then we have coconut sugar, speaking of the devil, and demerara sugar. Again, it's just a less processed form of sugar, but it doesn't matter how processed sugar is. It's still sugar. Our body and our liver still processes it exactly the same way. Dextrin, that one would be really hard for people to recognize. Dextrose, and OSE, usually if something ends in OSE, it's a sugar. Evaporated cane juice, again, another fancy way of saying cane sugar. Free-flowing brown sugar, again, another fancy way of just talking about brown sugar. Fructose, fruit juice, and yes, fruit juice is considered a sugar. They use it as a sweetener. So some items, when they say that it's sugar-free, but it has fruit juice in it, makes you think. Fruit juice concentrate. Glucose, and we all know glucose, C-O-S-E, it's a sugar. Glucose solids. Golden sugar. Golden syrup, grape sugar. So see a theme here? If it says syrup, obviously we are now talking about a sugar. So it's just like that OSE. So if you can't remember all these names, that's okay. Remember OSE, and anything that refers to a syrup or juice is a sugar. HFCS, high fructose corn syrup, that's a big no-no. Honey, and yes, guys, honey is sugar. It has the exact same chemical composition. It just comes from a different place. And just because it's natural doesn't mean it's super good for you. Maltose, mannose, maple syrup. Again, it's a sugar. So even if you're eating everything with maple syrup in it and you are still consuming 26 teaspoons of maple syrup a day, that's way too much sugar. You have increased your risk for heart disease. Like, it's not just me saying this. The medical studies are proving it. Sugar causes heart disease, and it comes in all sorts of forms. And we think that these forms are healthy. They are not. Okay? Now, that doesn't mean we can't have some maple syrup and we can't have some honey. It just means we can't have it 365 days a year. That's not how we were designed. Molasses, muscovado, palm sugar, panocha, okay? Powdered sugar, raw sugar, refiner's syrup, rice syrup, saccharose, okay? OSE, sorghum syrup, sucrose, just plain old granulated sugar. That one's not so tricky. Confectioner's sugar, corn sweetener. That one's kind of like people don't realize that's sugar. It's a sweetener. It is a sugar. Corn syrup solids, date sugar, dehydrated cane juice, icing sugar, invert sugar, malt syrup, maltodextrin, maltol, sweet sorghum, syrup, treacle, turbinado sugar, yellow sugar, and one that's not on my list but is starting to become concerning because I'm seeing this more and more, particularly in the health food aisle and in organic foods, organic date syrup. Because date syrup, like I said, if it ends in syrup or OSE, it is definitely a sugar. So this is what's making it so hard. Lots of people say, and I've heard all week from people, oh, I don't eat that much sugar. I'm not doing the energy drinks. Oh, I'm definitely cutting out the cereals. Those things are obvious. The things that aren't obvious is when we buy protein bars that have been sweetened with date syrup or maltose, or they've been sweetened with corn sweetener or agave nectar, or things that we think are super healthy, like honey and syrup, and we willingly buy them. And they can say sugar-free if they don't have an added sugar form. So if that sugar already occurs in the product, they're allowed to declare that there's no added sugar, okay? Because they didn't actually add anything that wasn't there already. There are all sorts of different loopholes in exposing sugar. So read your labels. I'm going to post in the comments and on my Instagram. So hit like for my video, hit subscribe, and hit the little bell so that you get the notifications, because I'm not sending out direct messages to everybody anymore. And follow me on Instagram, protrainer.jill. And I'm going to list all 61 names in the comments, and hopefully you guys can have happy hunting for your sugar, because come on, we got to get healthy. And if we can get off the sugar, that is like 80% of our problem for health and for weight and all sorts of different things. And we just got to be smart about it. Eliminate one thing at a time. Find your obvious stuff, okay? Then go on a hunt. Go on a sleuth hunt. I found sugar water in my home fries. Now I check everything. I have no salad dressings. If I buy a salad dressing from the store, it has no preservatives, no artificial flavorings, and there is no sugar anywhere in that list whatsoever. If I can't find a flavor that I like, then I make dressings at home. I try to make everything from scratch at home so I know what goes in it. So I'm not saying that we can't have treats. What I'm saying is we need to get off the packaged goods because they're not healthy for us. And the marketing monkeys are constantly tricking us with false claims. Anyway, have a great night. And next week, I'm going to talk about more how do we get off sugar? What are the actual consequences to our body for getting off of sugar? Because there are some addiction withdrawals that are going to happen. So how can you conquer those things and how can you overcome it? So we're going to talk about sugar addiction next week. Anyway, have a great night and thanks. Bye.